Yeah.
I didn't know about it until I saw it posted somewhere. But I only ever left it once before I found it, so I wasn't flying back and forth.
Oh yeah.
Back and forth.
Back and forth.
Back and forth.
It's gonna be one of those kind of days.
That was good.
Is it?
That's funny.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of Server Restart In. It is a weekly World of Warcraft podcast hosted by three opinionated players who like to get together to discuss their thoughts about the current state of the game. My name is Jim. I am joined by Kristen.
Hi.
And Brian.
Hi.
And
I was trying to do it sexier than she did. I'm not sure what's going on there.
I wasn't doing it sexy. Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
Well, I'll tell you what. You'll never achieve that, Brian. But so I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I lied, and we're not gonna talk about WoW Classic this week.
Oh, I didn't. know
did we say that?
I did say that at the end
funny.
that we would talk about the WoW Classic and like the season of Discovery and all. So like
I do think it's interesting.
it is interesting, but
There's not enough out there to talk about yet, though, right?
Well, we haven't talked about it at all. Like I didn't watch the deep dive. We haven't gone into like what's coming up with Season of Discovery, how like their max level cap at the beginning is 25, and then they're gonna have like a new like 25 level.
There you go.
raid.
We just talked about it.
I know. I know.
So you should yell at Jim, on that X thing or whatever, or Facebook or whatever, wherever we have our social things.
Yeah.
And say, hey,
Call me out for being a liar.
If you're mad that we didn't really talk about Classic
I
that
think we have
much.
more important things to discuss.
We do have retail is popping off right now.
So
like
first off,
I have logged in 3 days.
somebody has been playing pretty much every day since it came out.
Yeah.
And it's nuts.
Yeah.
And this patch and what they've done in this is it just feels good.
Oh, and I have hope, right?
Yeah.
That they're gonna fix it so I can play with my friends now. You know?
Yay.
Well,
Yay!
yeah, so that's in the Q&A stuff that they released Friday, which we'll go ahead and talk about in a little bit. I just kind of want to talk about just 10.2 as it stands right now, right? So, it's awesome. Like every hour you got the Super Bloom event, and then you get the
Did
seeds.
you say the Super Loom event?
Super Bloom.
Just sounded like
it's
it.
the Superb Loom,
Okay.
kind of like the Superb Owl.
Is it the Super Bloom? Is it only that one route that it goes?
No,
he
it
can go
takes
2
couple
routes.
Yeah.
Oh.
He goes around the tree and down to the ends of the same point, right?
Oh, I
So
see.
either he goes towards the tree with the fruit that you get the powers from, or away from it, over a bridge. So,
okay.
But you can get different powers, and you get more powers the higher your renown is. So, like I think at renown 4 you can pick 2 fruits. At renown 8, I think you can get 3, and all that stuff. And so, yeah, it's.
I've done it twice, and it gave me the. I did the Moonkin one once.
With the 2 moonkins, or the one where you turn into a moonkin and fly up and shoot stuff down and shoot moonfires down?
I got both.
That one's
where you
fun.
have the mini moonkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got the one where you fly up and go back down.
Yeah, they're both fun.
It's like,
yeah, no, it's interesting.
So this is, I think, what they've been talking about, and like they kind of talked about this with the Delves, but they're taking things from like Torghast, right? That is a Torghast thing, getting powers for the event, and you get them,
which is the best part about Torghast.
Well,
yeah.
the best part is like the iteration on stuff. You know what I mean? Like I like that. They're, they're taking, even if Torghast still isn't in the game, which thank God it is not still in the game. Well, they are incorporating things that they have learned from Torghast.
You mean it's just not? It's not current.
Not current
Not
content.
like
It's still in the
okay.
game. It's still
I'm
in
like,
the game.
what?
Sorry, no, they didn't take it out. No, it's still in
They
the
axed
game.
that
They're
shit.
just not. It's not an active
Just
feature
ripped it
of
out.
this expansion.
Right.
I do
Yeah.
like the fact that they seem to be focusing more on evergreen stuff, which I know that is such a popular term lately.
I hadn't
I
heard
didn't
about
word
it
it.
until recently.
Really?
I was
Yeah.
about to say,
It's-
like, it's a software term, like, for sure.
It's-
Like,
it's a-
greenfield, brownfield,
So
you know.
I have heard of it more in Final Fantasy, right? And I don't know if it's a content creator thing or whatever, because I first heard it talked about by a content creator, or where exactly it came from. But it is just a term that has been popping up, and I'm grateful for, because I think it's a good.
It's a
thing.
fucking tree.
Well, yeah, them actually,
Yes.
like, clarifying where they isolate and focus on.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good to highlight. Yeah.
Yes, and the fact that I have never been, it's not a big surprise. Nobody is going to be shocked here, but I have never been a fan of FOMO content. Dun, dun, dun. You know, I don't like it. I think that people should be able, you're paying for a game. It behooves the game to allow you to go and do that stuff. Otherwise, once you do everything for the current expansion, if you don't have anything to go back to, why bother playing the game? Right?
Yeah.
So to me, it behooves the company to keep that stuff in, so people who are collectors, people who are achievement hunters, people who just enjoy going back and farming old content have stuff to do, you know?
Right.
I always felt like they were shooting themselves in the foot by not doing that stuff, not allowing that stuff, because it takes out a whole chunk of people. And there are a lot of people who play who don't raid, who don't Mythic Plus, who just go out and as evidenced by the fact that they're putting delves in. There's that thing where there's explorers, there's achievement hunters, which I think are the killers. There's
What?
different subsets of people who play differently in MMOs. And some people hunt
I don't know
achievements.
about this.
Some people go out and explore things. Some people, do PvP. Some people, you know what I mean? I'm going to look it up. Hold on.
Well, I think delves are gonna be kind of like an iteration on Torghast, because they're gonna be like a progressible thing, like Torghast was. Maybe not quite as whatever, and like it's nice to see like the power selection stuff coming into play more, because it was a fun feature, and the fact that when you get it for, I don't know if it's 30 minutes or an hour that you get it, so it's like you can still use it after the event's
Oh, really?
over.
I didn't notice
Yeah,
that.
I don't know.
I found it.
Okay,
Sorry.
Go
Keep
ahead.
going. Sorry.
no, you
No,
go ahead.
It's on Wikipedia. It's the Bartle taxonomy of player types, right?
Okay,
So this is Wikipedia, so
take it with a
I'm-
grain of salt.
well, no, I mean
Hold on,
it's
let me
Wikipedia,
let me
so
edit this page real quick.
yeah. It was based on a 1996 paper by Richard Bartle, according to their people's preferred actions when they played a game. So it's killers, achievers, socializers, and explorers. And so if a game doesn't have something for all of those people, then obviously it's not going to appeal to all of those people, and those people aren't going to play that, and you don't really want that. It's like
Okay, so it's basically
game psychology, essentially,
Sure.
is what it is,
You-
right?
you-
How to get people to play your game and
Right.
keep people playing your game, and blah blah blah.
and
So
you can definitely see when a game moves toward, if it starts off incorporating like several of those and like equal things, when it starts to veer towards one subset more
Yeah.
than the others,
Yeah.
it falls off.
Yeah.
It's just like,
and that's what's so interesting, right? Like, obviously, I play Final Fantasy as well. Final Fantasy really, I feel like it hits all of those pretty well, right? Because they leave their achievements in. You can constantly be doing achievements and stuff. The socializing aspect is through the roof, right? Just between the content that the community drums up with the nightclubs and the RP events and, housing and stuff like that. I feel like they've done, housing is kind of a sore spot, right? Because,
Sure.
their housing situation is not great. Like the world as it is right now.
Don't do what the fuck.
Well,
right.
it's not a great situation for people. So
Jesus.
Final Fantasy is mirroring that in some regard.
Don't exist in the real world. We exist
I know,
in the
I know.
world of Warcraft. Please, let's keep it there.
So anyway,
WoW world problems, please.
yeah, wow, world problem.
We don't have housing.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a problem.
World.
We should have housing in WoW. Yes, that would be great. But don't do it the way the Final Fantasy did it. Do instance housing. I'm sorry, but it would be.
Wait,
way
how do
better.
they do it?
They have non-instanced housing, and so they have a finite amount of houses, and so
That's awesome, though.
I mean,
well, I guess it
it's-
depends on how you look at it.
depends on how you look at it because
It's
you
instant.
can.
Like in UO, it was the same way, but it created a real estate market.
Yeah,
And
well,
so like people couldn't afford to buy houses at that point.
so the only way that we have a real estate market is with free company houses, because those can be transferred. Personal houses cannot, right? So they have houses for guilds and they have individual houses, right? All mixed in together. So you could be next door to a house with a guild, or somebody's personal house, right? And that's really cool and enjoyable, but it's sorry,
They do have. It's not each individual one is instance, but they have like neighborhood instances where
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
what I thought.
it's like
because
the same
yeah,
layout,
it's
right?
not instanced.
That's what they had in
Well,
11
yes
as well,
and no.
I think.
It's
Each individual house is not instanced, but you have neighborhoods that are like the exact same. So you have several districts. You know what I mean? Like the district is
Yeah.
kind of like it's like an instance of
like the house
of
itself
static hazard.
isn't, but it's
But there's a finite
there's
amount of those.
but
Is that what
yes.
you're saying?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And there's, a specific housing district. So yes, that is
Right.
instanced.
Right,
But
I mean, that's the way they've kind of made it so that they can like layer them up and have more than
Yeah.
just like one district of it. But it's still each individual one not
fuck?
being like that is it's obnoxious, and it's like it should be kind of like in
Now that I think about it, maybe 11 had an actual instance house itself. I don't remember.
I don't know, but that game's still around. People still play that. You can still play that game.
Not officially, though, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
officially.
you can pay a sub and play it.
No way.
There's like
really?
there's like two servers. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's still legit Sony stuff.
Interesting.
I had to look at it more, but yeah, instance housing would be good. Guild halls would be great.
Yeah.
And it's like they have the ability to do that. It's like, they could update the professions to, blacksmiths could make more than just armor and weapon. They could make pots, and they could make metal
Yeah.
structures and stuff like that. Frames, like you could make stuff like if you want to build a bed, you could, maybe a blacksmith would have to make like nails, and like that's the only way you can get it is from a blacksmith and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So putting in housing and adding into the crafting the ability to make things for the houses and stuff like that would be pretty cool.
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So-
Man, we just talked about this like 3 or 4 episodes ago.
We talk about
I
it all the
remember.
time because player
'Cause it's
housing,
something they should have.
yes,
Yes.
and maybe
And they don't. You know what sucks too is that if they did it, it's not something they gotta continuously like upgrade over and over. It's like transmog at a certain
Yes.
point, right? Like they create the system initially, and then you
Just
just
add new
use the
items.
features of it. Yeah, and it just keeps going. So I mean, boo-hoo! You add a few cosmetic items that you can throw into the store and sell for money.
Right.
Add another room for $10.
Could you imagine if you could do that? You could do a system where you could get inscriptionist and like have like a sub category of inscriptionist, since they do like inks and stuff like that, to do like paintings, and then you could upload files.
Aw.
You could
I mean,
upload.
that would be cool, but I would want more like bring back the sexy paintings and make it
What are you talking about? That bowl of fruit, man, that banana gets me going every day.
Wow.
Exactly.
My.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, God, what did we get to? We were talking about the Super Bloom. So, like, yeah. So that event happens every hour. It's not hard to find a seed to pop stuff down and do the seeds.
The seeds was actually really fun. And then like I did one where I thought I put down a blue or purple, and then I got like 4 flight stones out of it. I don't know, like maybe
it's random. I mean, so it
Is
doesn't
it?
matter what you put down. You may have you need to check and see, because there is like the season cap for upgrading right now that probably is going to get upgraded every week.
You talking about 2,000 flight stones?
Well, flight stones plus the crests, if you didn't get any crests and stuff like that, like in the currency tab, like since the upgrade path and stuff like that, just like they have in like the past, it's like you start off the first week, you can only get so much currency.
Yeah, I'm almost maxed on my.
And every week, like that allowance goes up before it becomes unlimited, kind of thing. It's just kind of a way to prevent people from just maxing out gear the first week, which
It's stupid because there's, whatever.
Yeah. So
Whatever.
Hmm.
Whatever.
Well, I like the seed stuff. As soon as I figured it out, like I did like 20 of them in a row.
Yeah.
I burned through so many dewdrops, like I don't have a lot anymore, and I was just like, I'm just pumping them in, and it's just like,
Why? So you don't have to put that many into.
if you're the only one doing it,
Well, yeah,
and you want to get purple for that one side, yes, you do.
Well, yeah, but if you're the only one doing it, I mean,
Yeah.
don't be the only one doing it. Like,
I mean,
Yeah,
why am I gonna? I
Or-
don't want to wait. It's like, whatever. I'll go out and farm more seeds.
I have
Damn,
some
dewdrop.
seeds.
My God, I don't have to wait. Don't tell me how to play the game the way I want to play the game. Oh my God.
I mean,
Oh my God.
Fine.
And then you get the little
do what
pop-up
you want.
events for like the enraged or the whatever they called it, where you go and you can collect
the frenzy.
yeah, the frenzy
whatever.
thing. You know, it's like those are like the 3 events, and like they're always kind of going up, and like depending on what the population is, and I guess how populated your shard is or whatever, it's like there's all kinds of people doing this stuff. And like I was talking to Kristen yesterday, I'm like, this feels a lot like playing Guild Wars 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in so much as that, like, oh, you're in the map. Oh, this event's popping up. Everybody comes and does it
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Because that's kind of like how it is in.
Well, it
Guild Wars
feels
2.
like
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like the beginning of the expansion again. That little feeling. I'm sure it sucks. I don't want to be a negative, but I know it's gonna go away.
Did they say
Like-
that they're getting rid of shards? Like realm like
What?
everything is gonna be
They're gonna kind of flatten the idea of it being so like sharded out.
right.
Like the technology is still probably going to do it, but it's going to be less of it because of
Obtrusive.
yeah.
Hmm.
Right, so I mean, they're gonna like have more players on a thing before it like splinters, kind of thing.
I didn't hear the details. I just remember hearing that part and thinking like it's less. I don't know. They talked about the
I think
trading, cross-realm trading at all.
that's already been.
So this,
They've already added that in. You can do that already outside of it.
Really?
Yeah.
oh no, it's instance, and that's the problem, right? The problem one is
No,
in the
cross
instance.
faction trading is instance only,
Yeah.
but trading out in the world with cross realm, I think that's been a thing.
Oh,
Okay.
that's what I was thinking about. How I fixed the game again.
Oh,
So
again?
yeah.
Quit breaking it.
So we were talking about the cross realm stuff, right? Not cross realm, cross faction stuff. We were watching that. What were we watching yesterday?
The Q&A.
The Q&A. And they were talking about how, somebody asked a question about cross faction and will you be able to queue up for cross faction stuff? And they're like, we want to make it so, if the people who don't want to play with cross faction people, don't have to worry about getting a person who is cross faction in their party if you can just queue. And I'm like, Well, that's easy. Just make it toggleable, right? Where you can pick a thing on Duty Finder or whatever, where you want to queue with those people or you don't want to queue with those people, right? And then you get put into parties accordingly. So that way everybody is happy. Yeah. Like, because Final Fantasy has stuff like that where you can join an instance already in progress, right? And you can choose to join an instance already in progress. Or you can choose to join just a fresh instance, right? If like there's something that you know.
Yeah,
whatever.
I think that their reason for it is bullshit because they're saying they don't want to force cross-faction gameplay into random group finder.
Yeah.
Then make it something you opt in for.
Yeah.
And put it right on the UI and you're done. And that's it.
Yeah.
You know, because that should be it. So
and that's the problem that I have. If it is a limitation of technology, say that it's a limitation of the technology that you have currently, right?
No, they're trying to control for sure.
Don't make up BS reasons for, well, we want to give players player autonomy and we don't, you know what I mean? If it's a problem with your hardware or software or whatever, then just say that. Don't make up bullshit stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem I have with, like, we're trying to spin it in the best way possible and to blah, 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 and not to make ourselves sound, seem like, we don't have the technology right now. But I would rather know you don't have the technology. And then I can say, oh, shit, okay, well, there is an actual reason, and it's not just you choosing to be a dickhead. You know what I mean?
And they're saying like the pre-made group finder is a way to do this kind of stuff, and you just go there, and it's like, but if you only have 2 people, like I don't want to I just make it random. It's like random is fine. It's like let people queue up for it. If they want to do if it's I mean obviously if you're in a group that's cross faction.
You should be able to heal your group members no matter where you are.
Well, that is, because that gets into weird like PvP flagging shit in the overworld, right? So like that's like they haven't like those systems haven't been like completely erased, which is why a lot of this stuff is only in instance content because they can do that. But like all of a sudden, it could flag you for PvP or something like that, like unintentionally. So in the open world, I get that. So that makes it hard for like open world content, like some of these events and stuff like that, or like world bosses or stuff like that. It makes it hard to kind of do it with a cross-faction group. But like, obviously, if you were in a cross-faction group, if it's you and one other person and you're Horde and Alliance, you should be able to queue, and that should be a good indicator that you're opting into cross-faction queuing, and it's as simple as that.
Well, that's those people, but the other people that, like, say the random person who also gets fed into that group.
But that's what the toggle's for.
Yeah, no,
right?
I agree.
Like, if you're in a group and you're cross-faction, the toggle's automatically set when you queue, right? Like, you can't opt out of it because you are in a cross-faction group. If you toggle it off, you can't queue. Toggle it on, you can queue. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
That's what they should be doing with it.
Yeah.
So.
I will agree.
I think that, and that should be it. Like, that's.
It affects me.
It doesn't matter that it just affects you. It affects a lot of people. I guarantee you there's a lot of people.
But I mean, I agree because it
guild.
affects me. Well, it doesn't because most of our guild is still, well, that's not true.
No,
a lot of people did switch over to Alliance.
We have a healthy mix of Alliance and Horde in our thing, and that does severely.
It's disgusting. What? Sorry.
Oh, you're one of those.
Old habits die hard. Sorry.
I know. If it's red, it's dead. Yeah. So the story's been pretty good too, as far as like going into the dream. It doesn't really feel like it's the dream, like the Emerald Dream. They can say it all this stuff. It just feels like a new.
Just another zone. Yeah.
Can you riddle me this?
Yes.
What does the dream have to do with the structure of islands outside the dream? Because it's the same outer islands.
That's because it is obviously the dream is like.
Is it just like in that position of the world? Now you flip to the dream and you're there.
I think that's it. I think it's like. I don't
because if you look over there, remember there's something underwater, right? on the map, and then there's like a ring of islands. There's a big one here, and a small one down here. Those islands are in the dream, but the underwater thing is the main part.
Yeah. So
let me just cross-reference the web just to make sure I'm remembering this accurately. I kept looking at it, I'm like, that's the same shape. Why is that the same shape? And I'm like, I thought when we went to the dream in the different scenarios or whatever, like we went to something totally different. It wasn't like, other than I guess
it depends on where. So when we
burning, what was it called? Burning Islands? No. Oh gosh, Legion Islands, Burning Islands? No.
Oh, Broken Isles.
Broken Isles, yes. Broken Isles. We had the druids had the thing, right, where they could go into it.
Right. Well, they could enter the dream, but like, so when they go into those areas, it's not. I think the area of the Emerald Dream that we're going into is that part of the Emerald Dream that overlaps that part in Anaran Plains. It's just as simple as that. That's just the place. Which means I think that's when the world tree emerges. There's going to be a world tree there for the elves to live in.
No, it makes sense.
That's where it's going to be. Like I think it overlaps because the dream is the blueprint for Azeroth, right?
I think that they missed a connection that they could have had, missed an opportunity. Yeah. With allowing the Dream Grove, the Druid Dream Grove, to connect to the dream itself, because it was kind of that was where the nightmare stuff came through and everything. Like that would have been kind of cool to allow the Dream Grove to connect to the dream, you know.
Yeah.
Found it. Actually, it is a thing on Reddit. Let me find, where's the chat thing in this stupid application?
You talking about the voice chat?
No. Here we go.
Okay.
There's like a chat. Okay. That right there is exactly what I was thinking of. So they overlaid the Emerald Dream on top of it.
Yes. And so why that thing doesn't exist there in the current world, I couldn't tell you, but or it's shrouded, isn't it? Or does it, can you not see it there? I guess maybe
the other world is just, and I remember flying all through this ring in the beginning of Dragonflight because I'm like, what's over here? And I'm like, oh, there's nothing. It's just mountains and mountains and mountains of shit. But I think if I can find the regular map, it's just like an underwater. Yeah. Okay. So it's not underwater. Sorry. It's the outline of the fatigue, tolerance on a map.
Right.
That's what it is.
So
sorry.
My guess is that at some point they're
gonna flop that thing right out of the Emerald Dream and stick it on.
Yeah, but at some point, right? So again, like what the dream is like the blueprint or whatever, or like the base model of Azeroth. So at some point there probably was an island there, and something happened, and it's no longer there. But it still exists in the dream, but it doesn't exist in Azeroth, in the waking world kind of thing. Because Azeroth's changed. Like, if you were to go to where the Barrens is, right, and you got that cleft from when Deathwing came through, I bet in the dream version of that doesn't exist. It's pristine, right? It's like time hasn't, happened there. Now, we're seeing some stuff because of Farak and the Druids of Flame are coming in.
That was the Ysera thing, right? Like Ysera is the one that made the blueprint of Azeroth.
Maybe.
The blueprint of Azeroth.
I don't know.
I thought it was. I don't remember.
It could be.
I thought it was, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of that, because a lot of that stuff has changed too. It's like it's kind of been tweaked and stuff, so it's really kind of hard to deal with that. So, but yeah, no, the zone's been good. The story's been good. So I saw something too where somebody basically said that a lot of the night elves and stuff that are in the dream in the main encampment, and one of them was like a guy you have to kill in the quest line. They were all originally in Darnassus. They're all survivors of the World Tree. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's the Overseer Cinder something or whatever. He was actually I don't know what he was, but like, yeah, they were all like they're survivors of the World Tree of Darnassus being burned, right? Or Teldrassil and all this stuff. And now they're at the encampment of the New World Tree kind of thing. So it's an interesting tie-in to that, you know? So that's cool. Yeah, what else? I'm kind of looking for, like, there's so many just things out there. It's like, you can log in and just go do a super bloom and log out. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's nice. It feels like there's always something to do, but it's never something that you have to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, and that's what even the main, I don't think I'm done with the main quest or something, but it looks like I am. Because I got it done pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I've only done is it just go up to Viranoth and that's it? Viranoth and the little sidekick that she finds from Farok's abandoned.
Oh, the Claws of Viranoth and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it goes up through that and stuff. So, I don't know. I've been having fun. And I've been enjoying it. And I know for sure, I mean, obviously Kristen's enjoying it because, I mean, it's like Druid Heaven.
I don't know what it is though, man. For me, it's always like it's the 0.1 patches I can never get into. It's
do you think
after that for the most
I see.
Because that's what like I got on and I played as much as I could. But I remember like going back, like I did not finish 10-1 at all. Right? Is there like caverns? So
it could be because
I didn't either.
It could be because typically there's not as much change from the release of the expansion to 10.
But holy shit, there was a lot of content there. Like,
well, the
content to do.
The content isn't necessarily. Well, I mean, is that when Zerlak Caverns came out? Was 10-1? Or 10-1-5?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I mean, but like, it hasn't really like they didn't introduce a lot of anything new in 10-1. It was new content to do. It was new story. But it wasn't new systems. It wasn't these events, right? You know, and it's like, I know that these public event things are an experimentation. You know, like they're going to see how this works and all that stuff. And so far, I mean, I'd say that it's a good thing. Put more in. Just more stuff that's happening in the world. And you could honestly do things like they did in Guild Wars 2 where because they said dependent on how the event goes, something else will happen. Like that, I don't see that at all. These events are not tied together in any way where they impact each other, as far as I can tell.
Wait, which events? Sorry, I missed that part.
All three of them. You got the Super Bloom, the Frenzied Assault, and then the Seed stuff, right?
I see.
Those are like, which I think the Seed ones aren't really even like an event. They just exist, and you just do them. You know what I mean? But like, I don't feel that they tie in. Like, so like in Guild Wars 2, when you have a chain of events like that, you can fail the event, which means that the next event is a slightly different route. Like there's two paths it can go, right? Oh. And so they lead to the other and stuff like that. So like, and like, there's like one where like, in like one of the opening areas in Guild Wars 2, and like the human area, it's like, there's a water facility and like the bad guys are attacking it and you have to defend it. If you don't defend it, they destroy the pipes. So now people are coming to repair the pipes and you have to defend them so that way it can get rebuilt while they're getting attacked by the bandits again and all that stuff. Or you protect it and a couple of different things happen. So having like these events kind of do something where, you know, yeah, maybe we don't succeed in the thing. Like there is no like the mark of success in the Super Bloom event is how much stuff you get and the rewards you get, right? The mark is, so you either get either a green bag, a green and blue bag, or a green, blue, and purple bag because you did the whole thing, right? And that's it, right? There is no failure mode. So it doesn't like create a way for something different to happen. So I think if they can find some way to make these events have a based outcome to do something. Now that's a hard thing that can get bad if it's requiring a lot of people to make it happen, because then once people move on and aren't doing it, then you only ever get one cycle of the event because you never have enough to do another event. And you see that like in Guild Wars 2, you can see that in some of the end game events, like for like the older content, like people don't necessarily go back to those maps and do those events. Like if you need to like do a certain event to get an item or to get an achievement or something like that. So it is kind of a hard line to walk. So, but I think it's a step in the right direction. It's a good first attempt and it's fun.
You know, it's cool too.
What's
Druid flight forms are getting dragon riding.
Yes. So they did confirm that when dynamic flying gets put on, which is in 10.2.5, which I don't know when the release date is, but that's when it's going to be added, that Druid flight forms will be like any other mount. They will have dynamic flying abilities as well.
Can I just say it is great. Like I unlocked old world flying as soon as I could because it feels better farming on old world flying for me. It just does. It's really cool to be going super fast, dragon riding, and then I just flip into my flight form because there's no it's seamless, right? You just go into your flight form. There
you gotta shift into neutral and fall.
you just immediately, yeah.
Okay,
well,
here we go.
So you have to do that with any other, if you're shifting into any other form, like say you're in flight form, and then you go to shift into bear. It's nice. You can just shift right into it, right?
Right.
But like if you like cast a spell, you know, obviously it puts you into like caster form. So it's nice. It's a nice thing because it feels good. It feels talking about like we have been at sometimes talking about class fantasy, right? It really brings back the class fantasy feeling to be like, oh, you know, I'm a druid, so I can fly. I showed Jim the other day when I was doing it in the dream area. He was super excited. I was like, oh, check it out. Look, I'm flying. I'm a cool snowy owl. And then I skim the ground and then I jump into cat form and I'm running around in cat form. And then I go to leap off a cliff in cat form and then I'm in flight form again. You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid stuff.
I mean,
like,
it harks back to the original video of Warcraft when the person shifts into the panther.
Yes.
It's standard druid shit.
It is, and it's stupid stuff like that I really enjoy. You know what I mean?
It is good that they put that back in. It is good that they're giving the option to do that. And
yes,
I get that, you know, they have a vision for how like the stuff should be experienced in the beginning, and it's good that normal flight will be available in the new expansion as soon as you hit level 80 and finish the story, right? Which isn't going to take that long. So, but at least as a druid, though, you'll still be able to use your flight form. It'll just be dynamic flight instead of regular flight. Because, and at that point, you're mostly going to be focusing on leveling and doing the story than just gathering. So it's not like it's going to be that much of a detraction. And then it's going to be maybe a week at most. If you're doing it slow,
yeah.
Right? So, I mean, that's good, you know, and it's just like, you know, it at least they're like allows you to experience the game as they like envision it and stuff like that.
Right.
But doesn't like lock you into it till like the end of the expansion like it has been for so long, right?
Yeah.
You know, not allowing flying up until whatever. So yeah, so that's good. What else were they talking about in some of this Q&A? That's pretty good stuff. Let's see.
You know, I mean, they talked about lots of really good stuff, but unfortunately, like I watched it all the way up to the point that they started the classic one, then I stopped.
Yeah, we just watched the first part too.
But I don't remember because what's the other guy's name? Not Ian, but the other guy.
Morgan Day.
Yeah, no, he's really good about like doing the down to earth explanations where Ian's like, well, this is how we're doing in the circle.
Oh,
And you don't really need to know the real part of how we do things.
so we are.
But
Yeah.
that's what we're thinking with our brains. And the other dude's like, oh no, totally, it sucks, and memeing and blah blah blah. He said meme one time and I'm like, I'm sold. This guy gets it. He actually lives in the world with the other people in the shit. And Ian, bless his heart,
Ian's
just
gotten.
wants to like
He's gotten a lot better.
no, dude, he is super like in software terms, like software engineering terms, right? On a team that makes a product, he is totally a product manager
Yeah.
because they live in the fucking clouds. They don't know what the fuck the actual like battlefield looks like. They don't know how it feels. They live in the fucking cloud of like, here's
I don't
a
know.
great idea.
Didn't he
I'm gonna
come?
make it work.
He came up there though. He came from the bottom up though. I mean, he played the game.
He did, but he lacks the personability that the Morgan has.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
Because
think
he's the one that can connect like a community person does and be influent. I mean, I don't know if he's influential or not. I don't know where he ranks stack wise or whatever.
yeah.
But he's the one that you want talking and being like, hey, don't worry. We feel your pain because this sucks and blah, blah, blah.
So, so I think what it is that Ian, because of the way he was in the past and stuff like that, has kind of like siloed himself off and was trying to just be whatever. And I think that he's come a long way from the way he was 2-3 expansions ago and stuff like that. Where he
yeah,
was
no,
just-
and I think we talked about this before, like where their hands are tied at a certain point. Like
right.
they can't just go freely discuss whatever they want. They're going to have well-controlled communications because that makes the most sense overall. It's just that like the Morgan guy in that interview presented more of a like
Oh yeah, he's just like a regular dude.
future. No, well, I'm saying a future like communications of WoW versus like there was a stark contrast between the two of those guys sitting there, and the explanations that we're giving. Well, what do we want to do is blah, 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 blah. It's like, God, shut the fuck up. Like, give me the down low. Like, we haven't been here for a month. We've been here for a very long fucking time. We know the patterns of the way that things work. We may not know the inner workings of things, but we know the patterns of them at this point. Like, just straight fucking talk. Just like Kristen was saying earlier, like, if it's a lack of something like technology or whatever, just come out and fucking say it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get well more respect than hiding in the dark, acting like there's always the black box, right? And it's like, well, you won't understand it, but this is just the way it is. It's like, well, don't do that.
Yeah.
You know,
That
that's
feels bad.
that's old Blizzard.
Well, that
not
just
really.
feels like you're talking down to your player base.
Yeah, no, it is,
And
right?
it's-
Like,
yeah.
can you imagine having, 1 million people pay you $15 a month and then you turn around and talk down to them?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I
I
give
don't
a fuck
know.
who you are.
Well,
Yeah.
you think about it, right? It's like he's had such a history of being vague and carrying that to that where maybe when he specifically said about the cross faction group dungeon finder stuff that we don't want to force cross faction gameplay, like maybe that is legit him just
no, for sure. No, I believe that part. Yes, you're
No,
right.
and
Because
they-
at a certain point, like, they shouldn't babysit every single perspective of the game. Absolutely. And that's totally fine. But like, you could hear the difference in the tones of voice, right? And
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
talking shit about Ian himself. Like,
Right.
I don't hate him. Like, he's not as
I don't hate
condescending
him.
as Ghostcrawler was.
he's
originally.
not, and his name isn't Ian Hazakostas, it's Ian Hazakostos.
Ian has a castis.
It's
Better than Dan
Kostos.
user.
When he said Hazakostos, and I'm like, have we been saying it wrong this whole time? It's like Denuser.
I just want I want more of the same personality
Oh.
that the Morgan guy has in a heartbeat, dude.
Speaking
All day.
speaking of people and personalities, I don't know if Kristen saw it. I sent it to you. Samwise is retired from Blizzard.
Yeah,
The guy
that
that's
sucks.
been we were just talking about him the other day.
Wait, we were?
Yeah, because he was like the art style and stuff like that, and he's like this big.
He
big,
did the
long hair-
original like Pandaren Brewmaster. Like
He actually
drew
like
that.
retired.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, he's been there for like 26 years or something like that. I think he's been there from the beginning of at least.
He's got a YouTube channel where he draws.
Yeah.
A few days a week, I think.
So yeah, but he's which
like
is
that.
like he's like he said it's basically like he's been like the person that just lives in their parents' basement for a long time, and it's time to move out. And I guess that's what he's saying. He's like, I've been, basically. I don't know if he was trying to say I'm not like leeching.
No, he's
off
literally
of,
stuck in Chris Smithson's basement, I think.
and he's moving out. One of the other things they addressed in the Q&A was the 3-day early access stuff and why it exists and why they're adding it. They basically were saying is like they were adding value to the base level because they gave it, I think, if you pre-order it, you'll automatically get Dragonflight, right? So you don't have to buy Dragonflight and then pre-order the next one kind of thing.
Right.
And stuff like that. So because they added the value to it, they had to make the higher up ones add more value to it, and so they figured that they landed on the early access and the beta access stuff for like the high end one, right? And Ian was saying that basically at the end of the first week, you're really not going to know the difference between somebody that was there.
No, you're not.
Early.
You're not.
And it's like you don't get any competitive advantage.
Yeah.
It's 3 days, isn't it?
It's 3 days.
Well, it's 3 days, so maybe you're max level, but you can't do anything. You won't have access to the currency.
Really are the only
Yeah.
Professions are the only thing.
And even then, you're only going to be able to do up to a certain level. You're not going to. It's not like you're going to be farming mythics to like get the stuff to make the highest level stuff. You're not going to have that. That advantage isn't going to exist. The only thing is like maybe getting like world bosses aren't going to be available. Mythic keys aren't going to be available. I don't even think mythic zeros are going to be available in that first week.
It's 3 days though. Like,
Yeah,
no one's gonna be able to do anything in 3 days.
Yeah.
The only thing that you could do is get max level, right?
Well, I mean, you play and then like you take screenshots and send it to your Discord group for the people that didn't pre-order it.
Yeah.
Pre-order that level and be like, you guys are poor.
And honestly,
Oh my God,
and you
Jesus.
could do that. I mean, but I mean, the other thing too is that like,
It says that you could do that.
yeah,
You could do that, I guess.
maybe I will do that. I don't know.
It's an option, I guess.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No, and it's just like, and that's the thing. Like, oh, he's gonna make it so that people can't play with their friends. Like, if it's that important to you,
Don't
Buy your
play.
friend
then
the
you
Epic
just wait
Edition.
until launch day to
Buy
play with
new
your friends.
Yeah.
Hey, buy new friends. Is that
Buy
what
new
you said?
Buy new
Buy
friends.
new
They're on the
friends.
store. You can just buy 'em.
Wow.
But yeah, but like if you don't care about the early access and you're doing it for like maybe the beta access, right? You don't get any competitive advantage other than maybe seeing some stuff at the end, which I mean, I don't know how much of that stuff they're even going to have available in the beta to test. Like maybe a raid boss or something like that, you know. So it's like you're not getting that much advantage. And those people that do like the mythic plot or the mythic world first type shit, they're going to be in the beta anyway because they're going to get keys anyway because that's how Blizzard caters to them because like that's like dry. It's like free advertising for them. So they're going to give
free catering.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
What?
You know.
Free catering, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Free catering.
Jimmy
Ooh.
John's.
Oh no. Oh, I really
Oh,
want
wow.
McDonald's breakfast right now. I don't know why.
Well,
I do know why. I do.
Anyway.
Well, I just totally derailed this conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it's like, yeah, there's really, you know what? It's like if you want to play with your friends, then you wait until your friends have access to play with them. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Buy them a copy. Don't be a dick.
That's what I mean. Like, if it's that important for you to play with your friends and you can afford it and they cannot, buy them a fucking copy. Boom, done. I mean, does it suck? Whatever. I think it is
I saw
probably the least intrusive thing that they could do for, you know what I mean? Like, it's 3 days.
Yeah, it's 3 days isn't shit. It's not like Diablo where like that matters. It's not like
Well, it mattered because they put in that 100 people to get on the statue or whatever and world's first shit.
that's what I'm saying.
It was
yes, that was shit for
they
that.
made it matter.
Yeah.
You know,
and stuff like that. But like, but it doesn't matter for this. And it's like, you're not going to do whatever. They got rid of, I mean, the Hall of Fame or whatever for like the mythic, like the 100 guilds for whatever isn't. I mean, because you can do cross realm mythic stuff from the beginning, so like that's not like tied to that, you know. So you don't have to worry about the raid things, and it's just like, you know, it's just 3 days is not a lot of time to do shit, and it's just like, and people that are gonna go that hard, they're gonna go that hard regardless, and you're gonna find that they don't have that much advantage on anything.
Yeah.
So so I think that people, I saw some fucking Reddit post that, I don't know where the fuck I saw it, and then dude's like,
on Reddit?
Yeah, well, I don't know like what brought it to my attention and like sent me to it per se, but it was just like, the guy's just like, well, I bought it, but like, is there any way you can just like take the early access away and stuff, like, you know, people are like, are you
Take the early access away?
Like,
Just
you know, I
buy
think,
the heroic edition then.
well, they're like, I think that, well, no, they're just saying, it's like, I want this, but I don't want it to have early access, so can you just remove it from that package so it doesn't exist anymore? And it's like, they're like, dude, people are like, you're an idiot, because you've already basically told Blizzard that you agree with it, because you already gave them the money and all that other stuff, and it's just like, what? Who does that? Who says stupid shit like this? If you don't agree,
I don't understand the logic behind it, because like, don't play it.
Yeah,
if you bought it, don't play it. I mean,
and I don't even know if there was anything else that you got with it. Because
I mean, I don't know if Blizzard sold you a heroic pack and it came with like, you know, I don't know, whatever, a gram of cocaine, right? And you are an addict, right? And then like you don't want to do it, but you feel obligated to. Maybe that logic works out. I'm not sure. I'm not actually addicted to cocaine, so I'm not perfectly positive that's accurate. But I have been addicted to WoW.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a dumb argument, and I think that, you know, people that pull up, it's like, you're just you know, it's class separation and poor people, you know, you're just making people feel like they have to. And it's like, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Yeah, I know, and they clarified it. Even in the interview, they clarified pretty hard on like what early access was.
It's like, you don't have to buy it, and it's not a big deal, and it's just like,
oh yeah, I might have to buy it.
I mean, that's fine.
I am too.
They kind of clarified that they're not making expansions smaller. So like, you know how they talked about providing content at a faster pace. I'm pretty sure that was really just kind of talking about like how Dragonflight has been and how it's just a consistent.
Oh no, it's not smaller but shorter, I think is what we're talking about more so, right?
Well, they said quicker. They said quicker deployment of content is what they said during the announcement and stuff like that. And
yeah. So like my expectation there would be like, consider now we're not even to the year point of Dragonflight, and we have all the major content.
We have all the, well, there's still going to be 3 more content patches. They did talk about that. You get a 10.2.5, a 10.2, and there is
right, but sure, but like the major stuff though we have.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's a good thing, right? I mean, we've gotten lots of good content on a steady pace over the last year, and so even though I didn't play 10.1 as much, like I did enjoy the fuck out of release, right? All the way up to that point. So I think it's a good healthy pattern. So if they did shrink it to a year and a half versus 2 years, right, to shorten it with the same amount of content, like, that puts us in a really healthy state.
I think it's either add, because you're right, we're at 10.2. There's not going to be a 10.3, but there is going to be like 3 content patches, but that means 10.2 for a year. It's like, that's like maybe half a year, and then a year, right, for like the major content, right? So 10.0, 10.1, and 10.2, right? And why is 10.2 that much longer? It's like either longer between major patches and do more minor patches to fill those gaps in, and don't release all of it at once and do, I don't know, but it's like they're not looking to make like the overall content of an expansion smaller so they can deliver faster. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I mean that's kind of good. Yep. Somebody asked if you could opt out of war bands.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck
Why
do
would you
mean?
Why would
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I
yeah,
do
yeah.
actually
Like,
I do kind of understand, right? Because if you have I guess they're maybe worried about the account storage or the storage stuff, maybe.
In what regard?
Like getting like stuff getting too full or whatever because of that. Like if you have storage on I don't know. I don't
I mean, it's like you have to actually put something in there physically, right?
sure.
You know, so it's like I don't understand what part of it you would want to opt out. It's like they did say that you'll see all your characters. They did say they talked about like if you have multiple accounts, your entire BattleNet account is in that warband. So all of your characters on all your accounts will be whatever, but they did say that there will be some like limitations on that. Like if you have multiple characters logged in from different accounts because you're multi-boxing, whichever the first one is probably going to have access to like the warband bank.
oh, they lock it. Yeah.
Yeah,
they lock
because
it so
that
you
makes
can't do
sense. So you
voice.
can't do like duplication exploits and all this other shit, right?
Right.
So there will be some of that stuff, but like I don't understand what you would want to opt out of. Like what in there could you potentially
Fuck
I
their
think
features, Jim.
I think
Fuck their features.
people just look for things to like
But why would that even
Why-
come up
why
as a question? Why would they even pick that as a question?
because people like to be able to opt in and opt out of things. And they want to make sure everything is opt-inable or opt-outable. You know what I mean?
I can't even think of anything in warbands as a whole that would be something that
That
you could.
you wouldn't want
I can't think of
to.
anything in there. Well, what? I mean, it's just
We don't
achievements
know. Yeah, I mean,
and stuff. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's anything that I don't know. I thought it was a dumb question. I really do.
agree.
I'm like I don't know if there's anything that they've talked about that's in there that would you would benefit from opting
Like
out,
not having
or
it,
like
yeah.
or like what not having that would do for you. That you know what I mean? Like opting out, like what that would give you. That you know.
Well,
or-
it's weird too. Like and what other features do you say I want to opt out of? Like when they're pretty major features like that. Like,
Dragonflight.
can I opt out of cross faction stuff because I don't want to play with alliance characters?
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
that's the
I'm just
thing.
kidding.
Like yes, you should be able to opt out
you?
of. Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to play with alliance characters, whatever, f you. But no,
But you can in the
but-
pre-made group. You can do in the pre-made group finder where you post your things for people to join. You can specify that.
right,
So you already can opt out of it. So
right. But you have to run into things specifically. You can't queue for it, and that is the problem.
but yeah, we've beat that horse to death.
Yeah.
So yeah, so some things are going to still be server based with the warband stuff, like character names. So, but they're still trying to like to flatten the whole like servers and realms and stuff aren't really like a thing, or like battle groups aren't going to be a thing anymore. And you know what I mean? Like it's because you're just going to have all that interaction and whatnot. Let's see. We talked about that. No planned stat squish for the next expansion. Probably come in.
No, for
mid-
the for
in
this
midnight,
one, then
yes.
maybe next one, yeah.
Yeah, for midnight probably. And they said that they should be okay with it, and you probably won't have as much of a problem as they have because they've gotten pretty good at it. Where you're not going to have the things where like something in the old world will just like one shot you because it didn't scale properly and all that shit. You remember
That's the
like
best part about WoW.
that was hilarious. Yep. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, somebody was asking about time travel. Like, there's not time travel because when they talked about it, they said we're going back to Northrend or back to Kel'Thas, right? Because
I love their comments on it too, man. They hit me right in the feels. Like
They said-
actually focusing on like
moving forward.
bringing Yeah, bringing the world to more persistent state.
Yeah.
Like that is literally what they were talking about.
Like we fixed the time ways. We're done with that stuff. It's like we're not doing time travel shenanigans anymore. We are going forward. Returning to the old world means we're going to see what has happened since we've been there, kind of thing, to see how it has advanced, which is good. They talked about dynamic flying, that they're doing as best as they can with some things. Some things are just not going to be. It's not going to be 100% in the beginning, but they're working towards that for the flying mounts and all that stuff. And again, it is exactly what we speculated it was. The animations are not easy for some things. So, and that's why certain mounts, and I think the person that was, not moderating it or whatever, but like reading the questions was basically like brought up Mimiron's head, like animations for that, like banking and doing stuff might be weird and stuff like that. That's just one example of it. Delves are going to be cool, no lockout, but it is going to have like you'll be able to earn chests or keys to unlock the chests and stuff like that, and that's kind of like a soft lockout for it. Like, you can only earn so many of them, kind of thing, and whatnot. And so you'll, whatever. So that's going to kind of like be a soft lockout in it, but you'll still be able to advance it and get the stuff from the vault. So that's good. Yeah, they talked about how somebody said something about hero talents making like priest wear plate armor like Anduin, but they said, yeah, we're not doing anything like that because that makes items.
They had thought about it. They had thought about it because that was their idea internally, he said, which was really cool. But then, the complexity.
The itemization stuff. It's like now you have priest rolling on holy pally gear, and then we're like now you're making it harder for like these core classes to get loot, kind of thing. So that's whatever. So I mean, I get it. So that might be something later on down the line, making like subclasses that are like that. But I thought it was really great when they were talking about Taron Gregory's like how he keeps track of things, and they likened it to the Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme with like Charlie, and he's just got the board with all the strings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah. So I mean, it was pretty good. They did address like archaeology, about how they're trying to find a way to bring it back, and like they talking about how like the triangulation, like a lot of people didn't like the triangulation stuff of it. I'm like, I didn't mind it. It was something to do, but I mean,
was it really that much of work though to just keep the same mini game to it? Don't make it any more fancy. Just add new areas.
Well, but that's what they're saying. They're saying that a lot of their feedback is that people didn't like that part of it because it was just.
That's what I mean. Like they're making a decision based on the majority when the reality is like, was it really that difficult to move forward every time?
I mean,
right.
But
because you could still support the minority in that scenario because it does not affect anything. Like, worst case, you got a mount out of it, right?
Yes, but you're also locking like lore tidbits and stuff like that behind something that most people don't want to do. So then that kind of makes it less accessible.
Oh, sure. I mean, they need to be creative about it. It should be old lore. It shouldn't be new lore, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but
types of things.
But it's hard, like, because you're when like in a new expansion, you're going to want to add like new stuff that kind of. So I mean, if they're looking for a way to kind of make it different, and like they're talking about like in the delves, like the Azerothian archive stuff, or that's actually in a Dragonflight update that's going to be coming up. So, which when Morgan brought that up, I'm sitting there going, did he just like leak something that maybe he shouldn't have? Because he talked about it.
Which part again?
That he talked about how they're going to be adding a new feature in one of the future Dragonflight updates called the Azerothian Archives.
Oh yeah, there was a spot that I remember being like, "Oh wait, was he supposed to say that?" Like,
I didn't. To me, that was it too. I'm like, did he just kind of like drop like a little like nugget leak and like the whole time? And as soon as he said that, I'm like, do they have a list of things they can and can't talk about?
I imagine.
And I'm sure they do, but I mean, like, was that like a slip or was that like intentional or like or were they okay to talk about it because it came up? I mean, obviously they had the questions. They weren't just these questions weren't just this person didn't just.
No, they were all they were all filtered. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they knew what the questions were, so they knew what they could or could not talk about. So I'm sure that they had already said, okay, well, we can talk about this. So I'm sure it wasn't a leak, but it almost felt like it was. It almost, and I don't know if that was intentional.
That's probably intentional.
To kind of make it feel like, oh, we're letting you in on a little secret.
Yeah, that's probably intentional.
Which is fine.
I'm about to say, I like that. Even like the 3 expansion thing, I'm not upset at all that like,
yeah.
For one, let me go a little bit on a tangent, but say that like, I like the idea that we have a real theme for 3 expansions, overarching. That's not just behind the scenes.
Yes,
I like the idea that it does. The flavor doesn't completely change necessarily. Like it will, but not the whole entire thing. So
we know where we're going.
Them giving us nuggets of things, I think is damn good.
Because just knowing that there's going to be something coming up within the next year in Dragonflight.
Right. That
is going to be tangential to archaeology as far as looking into things like history and stuff like that. And it's called Azerothian Archives. I think it's cool because now it's like, you know, something's coming. You know what it's called. You know what it kind of ties into. It's like, ooh, is this going to be something fun? Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Don't know. That's kind of hard to tell because they could introduce things. And like Kristen says, they could just do something. They could just be shit.
Well, the cool thing is, like,
it could monkey paw your ass.
Yeah,
that's true. Between their lore team that they have dedicated to being better about tying up or breaking threads, now that like Chris Meston's back, hopefully that kind of like fills in any other gaps that exist to maintain the story as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think that we're going to see a lot more because they're going to know what like characters that aren't in the forefront, like they said, are still doing things. So they're still going to have them doing things. So if it's like a little quest, side quest, kind of mention it or just kind of like exist or, you know, whatever. It's going to be nice if they have some way to like see all this stuff. So I don't know. I think that this is, the best I've seen Blizzard in a long time.
Yeah.
With regards to World of Warcraft, with regards to what they're putting out, and the fact that Kristen is hopeful, it just speaks volume. It really does. If you've listened to this shit, this podcast for the last 3 years and all that stuff, you're gonna hear her just being like, they did this, but they did this and they fucked you because it was supposed to be like this, and this is what we got.
We should rip all of the text transcripts and try and measure
how much
her
salt.
What do you call that?
Like a litmus, like balance, like between like pro Blizzard and
where has she set overall? Like,
oh my god,
we could chart like her approval rating of Blizzard based on that, and like have like a graph and just kind of see.
It would probably correlate directly to like the general feeling of WoW. So that's
right.
Fun.
We could do that, yeah. But I don't know. I think that though
that's too much work.
That is too much work.
But I really think that she is a good example of just the effect of this change. And now you're going to have people that are extremists on both sides. Blizzard never did anything wrong, and Blizzard's still just a piece of shit kind of thing. But to see, like, just to even hear her being positive about it, you know, it's like, yes, she enjoys the game. She enjoys playing with everybody because that's the social aspect of it, right? But now all of a sudden, she's logged in and playing.
Oh, I am playing right now, too.
I know. Like, yeah, and stuff, and she's been playing, and this patch has kind of like breathed like new life into it. And like we were making jokes about it because it was so druid heavy and all that stuff. Oh, this is Blizzard trying to get Kristen back, and it's like I think they kind of did a little bit,
a little bit.
I think between the stuff they announced in BlizzCon and the stuff in this patch and all that stuff, that I think that it's very likely that they have done just that. They kind of like got a little bit of hooks in her. Kind of thing, you know, and it's just like it's not perfect. You know what I mean? She still has issues with it, as is evidenced by some of the stuff she said today. But But overall, I think that the needle's moving more towards the positive side, and I think that
I would say the next year is going to be like the big telltale sign, right? Because the end of the expansion stuff is still where they, like, in my opinion, struggle. So
yeah,
we'll see.
We will see, but I think that
I think we'll see.
Yeah, I think we will.
I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We'll see.
It's still good to see that they're trying, because you can definitely see that they're putting effort into it, and it's not just lip service.
And lo and behold, it only took them trying to come back down to earth a little bit with their player base to make it happen.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
Well, I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
I agree.
it's just, it definitely doesn't feel like lip service anymore. Like in the beginning, it definitely felt like they were just saying what you wanted to hear.
Right.
And you're just like, there was definitely a lot of being tentative about it, about not really trusting them to come through and to follow through with.
And even when they probably weren't being malicious at all, right? Like, the reality is of making this shit, it's complicated and things change and unexpected things happen, and sometimes you just can't do the things you think you can do in the first place. And but I mean, communication up front is the biggest fucking factor of it all. So
the transparency, and it's like, even just be transparent enough to be like, look, we can't really go into the details of it right now about what's going on, but we're having issues.
You gotta do it in Ian's voice.
We can't really go into the. I don't know.
No, you can't.
I don't know. I don't know what he sounds like enough to like.
It's just the soft voice that we want to do that and talk like this. And
you sound like you're a Don.
Hey, look, you're gonna fucking like these features. I don't give a fuck. That's Trump.
Look,
Jesus
here,
Christ.
I'm gonna give you a gift
You
on this
sound like
the day
you're
of my
part of the
daughter's wedding.
mafia.
I'm gonna give you 3 expansions for the price of 1. All right, on this, the day of my daughter's wedding. All right.
Oh,
and I think with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for listening to these insane ramblings.
Yes.
It's been a good couple of weeks. I like the stuff that's been coming out. So yeah, you can check us out at facebook.com/server-restart-in. Choose a tweet/post at server_restart on X or Twitter, whatever your preferred nomenclature for that application is. And we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.